All right, today we're going to be looking at adding and subtracting polynomials. So we got a fair bit of new definitions and terminology that we're going to look at in this section. So the first thing we're talking about is a monomial. And a monomial is a real number a variable or a product of a real number in one or more variables with whole number exponents. All right, some examples of monomials. Well, 18 is a monomial. It's a real number. Z is a monomial. That's a variable. Or a product of real numbers in one or more variables. So negative 4x squared. That's a product. Product means multiply, and that variable is a whole number. Or we could have 2.5xy cubed. All right, a product, a real number, variables, and the exponent is a whole number. Or something like a divided by 3. All right, so those are all examples of monomials. All right, you can use monomials to form larger expressions, which we call polynomials. All right, and polynomials can be added or subtracted. Now, we have something called the degree of a monomial. All right, and the degree of a monomial is the sum of the exponents of its variable. Okay, the degree of a non-zero constant is 0. All right, so some examples of this. So 5x. Well, we know the exponent on the x is a 1. So the degree of that monomial, 5x is a monomial, is the sum of the exponents of its variable. So the degree here is 1. All right, 6x cubed, y squared. The degree is the sum of the exponents on the variable. Well, we have an exponent of 3 and an exponent of 2. 3 plus 2 gives us a degree of 5. All right, our last one, well, that's a constant. It has no variables with it. So the degree of a non-zero constant is just 0. All right, adding and subtracting monomials. When we're adding and subtracting monomials, really all we're doing there is combining like terms. So 3x squared plus 5x squared, well, they both have an x squared. They are like terms. So we should remember this. This is 8x squared. All right, 4x cubed y minus x cubed y. Again, they're like terms. They have the same variable part. This second thing, we know that has an assumed coefficient of 1. So we subtract the coefficients. 4 minus 1 is 3x cubed y. All right, now let's talk about polynomials here. So a polynomial is a monomial or a sum of monomials. Standard form of a polynomial means that the degrees of its monomial terms decrease from left to right. The degree of a polynomial in one variable is the same as the degree of the monomial, with the greatest exponent. All right, let's take a look at some examples of this. All right, so we're going to fill out this table here, talking about degree and number of terms. All right, so each one of these on the left is what we call a polynomial. So a polynomial is a monomial or a sum of monomials. So our first one here is 6. Well, 6 itself is a monomial. It has one term, but it's also a polynomial. Its degree, when we talked about degree of a constant, okay, degree of just a number, that degree is 0. Now, we also give some of these degrees special names. When something has a degree of 0, the name we use for that is just constant. All right, number of terms, well, that has one term, so we call this a monomial. All right, our next one here, the degree, all right, so the highest exponent that we have from one of the monomials, we have 5x, that's one of the monomials, its exponent is 1. The second one is 9, it's a constant, we know that degree is 0, so the highest degree there is 1. Okay, and the name that we give this when the highest degree is 1 is linear. All right, terms, we're talking about number of terms. We're talking about how many things separated by either a plus or a minus sign. So there are 2 terms here, and when we have 2, we call that a binomial. All right, our next one, again, degree, we're looking for our highest exponent on a variable there. So we have 2, 1, or 0. Well, the highest of those is 2. So we call this a quadratic. All right, the number of terms, well, how many things separated by a plus or a minus? We have 3. So we call those a trinomial. All right, final one here, degree, highest exponent is a 3. We call this a cubic. Number of terms is 1. So again, this is a monomial. All right, last one here, our highest degree or our highest exponent is a 4. All right, no special name for this one. We just call this a 4th degree. All right, number of terms, how many things separated by plus or minus? We have 3. So this one is a trinomial. All right, now let's take a look at some examples of adding and subtracting polynomials. So when we're adding and subtracting polynomials, essentially all we're doing is then combining those different like terms. We saw that with the monomials, we were just putting those like terms together there. Here we're just finding what things are alike in combining those. So if we have 5x cubed plus 8 plus 6x cubed plus 3. Well, our like terms there, well, the 5x cubed and 6x cubed are, put those together, gives us 11x cubed. And our 8 and our 3 are like terms, they're both constant. 8 plus 3 is positive 11. All right, the degree here is 3, that's our highest exponent. Number of terms is 2, so we would call this a cubic binomial. All right, now a little different when we're doing subtraction here. Okay, we're doing subtraction, I need to distribute my negative sign inside my parentheses there. So this then becomes x minus 2 minus 3x minus 5. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. X and negative 3x, well, that's a 1x. 1 minus 3 is negative 2x. And negative 2 minus 5, that is a negative 7. Two terms again, and my highest degree is 1. So this is a linear binomial. All right, let's take another example here when we got a few more terms in there. All right, so 5x squared minus 3x plus 7x plus 9x squared minus 2x squared plus 7x. So I'll find my like terms. There's an x squared, there's an x squared, and there's an x squared. Right, and just with the x, we have those there. All right, so we have 5, positive 5, positive 9, negative 2. Well, 5 plus 9 is 14. 14 minus 2 is 12. So we have 12x squared. And for the x's, negative 3, 7, and 7. Negative 3 plus 7 is 4. And 4 plus 7 is a positive 11x. Again, our naming this, okay, our highest degree is a 2. So we have 2 terms there. So this is a quadratic binomial. All right, our final example here. All right, y cubed minus 4y squared minus 2 minus 6y cubed plus 4 minus 6y squared. So again, first thing needs to be to distribute this negative sign to all those terms. We'll rewrite this as y cubed minus 4y squared minus 2 minus 6y cubed minus 4 plus 6y squared. All right, find our like terms. There's y cubed, and there's a y cubed. We have a y squared and a y squared. And we have our constant terms. All right, I put my y cubes together. I have positive 1y cubed minus 6y cubed, negative 5y cubed. For my y squareds, negative 4, positive 6. Negative 4 plus 6 is plus 2y squared. And for my constants, negative 2 minus 4 is a negative 6. All right, our highest degree here, our highest exponent is a 3, and we have 3 terms. So we would call this a cubic trinomial.